for those who didn't know, we had a friendly against Team Japan. And we were playing a 7v7. These were the players that we fielded. Like one of the best players. Me, Barish Akos, Salatin Sturm, Louis Markle, Wahim Fazan, Chok, for those who don't know, that's Roman Manukian. You might have never heard of him, which is fair because he was also never on stream. But he had really good tournaments. Like he's on a streak currently. Like the last tournament, he just went top 64 in EUIC, but he had a win it in against Teotime Masson. Then he also had a win it in Birmingham. Win it in Gdansk. Like he's a pretty good German player, so we fielded him. And we fielded Marcus, obviously. And we played against Team Japan. And do you see this roster? Do you see this roster? Thank you, Sosep, for follow. But do you see this roster? Top 4 EUIC. We don't have to talk about our Bega, do we? When we've got, I think this is Shoma Honami, world champion. World fucking champion. We've got Alcana, world's top 16 nationals finalist. Yeah, it's like, it's impossible. Yubi Slow, Kaito Aoi, like, incredible lineup. And we played a friendly against them. Okay, there's Carson Comfer. Some of his results are probably not too bad. 1 LAIC, 1 Worlds as a senior. Not bad. But technically, or basically, we played a 7v7 and I played against Alcana. Oh my god. And some of you probably already saw the set, but I wanted to talk about what went through my head and what like, in general, it's good to learn from this matchup because it's a matchup you might see quite often in the future as well. I will show you the teams first, okay? I will show you the teams first. For that, I gotta go on Discord. Gotta search for it. So this is the team I played and this is the team he played. So I played this team. You probably saw this team here and there. And this team is like decent, I would say. And I think the standard team has like Terra Grass on Indeedee and Terra Fairy on Flutter main. I'm running Terra Normal Flutter main and Terra Fairy Indeedee. Did I say Fairy? Yeah, no, this is correct what I said. I think if I have Terra Normal Flutter main, Bonnet Indeedee, I think Wildguard is not super necessary and I should have tested Protect or like Trick Room on Lunala, like Wildguard, I don't know. But yeah, this was the team I was running. And Alcana was using a very interesting Kelly Shadow Zama team. Like we saw Sash Kelly Shadow paired with Zama, Splash played Urshifu and Tornadus before. But we see Willaboom and Raging Bolt on this team. Usually, like for example, Zine's team had Zine's team also had Willaboom, right? But instead of Raging Bolt, there was Chiempao, I think. Chiem's Pao. Am I correct? Yo, Korn, good evening, how you doing? Are you excited for Utrecht? I can't tell if it is sarcastic, why? If you don't win a regional, Connor, you are never going to be the best senior. And if you're not the best senior, you're automatically a fraud. Okay, we've got 5 minutes. So let's take a look. Where, as I said, we had a friendly against Japan. And I was playing against Alcana, okay? And as you can see here, it's gotta be from his perspective. I was playing in local while I was playing this game. I didn't want to disrespect him at any point. but I also really wanted to play the local, so I had to play 2 games simultaneously. And I was playing against him, and he was using this team. We all know it. It's just Raging Bolt over Chiempao, but the rest, it's just the Zen 6. And I was playing also nothing too special, nothing too crazy. And I thought, okay, I cannot lead with Koraidon in this matchup, because if I lead with Koraidon, he will just lead with Tornadus, click Rain Dance, and I just cry. So I'm not really allowed to lead Koraidon, but I have another really good lead that can work very well if he doesn't bring Rillaboom. And usually players do not bring Rillaboom into Koraidon, Lunala, Chi-Yu. Why would you bring Rillaboom there? Yes, Fake Out is nice, but I've also got Psychic Terrain. So, actually weird, chat, actually weird. But yeah, so that's why I decided to lead with Lunala and Didi. And that is a phenomenal lead for me, because we see the Shadow Rider Zamazenta lead, and Zamazenta obviously is a little annoying for Lunala, because Expanding Force, he has Wide Guard, and Lunala doesn't do the best damage, and I'm also threatened by Astral Barrage. What I can go for is like Wide Guard Trick Room, but if I click Wide Guard Trick Room, I might take a ton of damage on my Indeedee already, so I cannot really go for Wide Guard Trick Room, because I lose too much in the process. This is Marcus. Kon, if you didn't see it, we played a friendly against Team Japan. We fielded 7 of the best German players, and Japan fielded 7 of its best players, so we played a 7 versus 7. And I was playing against Alcana. No, it's not that channel. It is, I will link it. Hold on. It's Marcus' channel. But I led with Indeedee and Lunala, okay? And if you need any help, like translating, I can obviously help. But it's Encore on the Shadow Rider, nothing too special. And I know that, like, the problem was I could calc. Usually, when I play online games, I like to calc. Not because I feel like I do not know any calcs, because I usually do. But I always think if my opponent can calc, I should be able to calc as well. But I couldn't, because I was playing the local. Anyways, we see a Terra Ghost immediately, which was a little surprising. Maybe he expected Astral Barrage Body Press to KO, which can actually KO if I was max speed, max special attack. Makes sense, because I also have Icy Wind Flutter Mane, so running a max speed Lunala isn't that terrible, but my Lunala was very bulky and a little slower than you might expect. So that's why I felt very confident in clicking Terra Water, because with Terra Water, I survive every double up. Indeedee should survive every double up with Psychic and Body Press not being able to KO Indeedee. And that's why Expanding Force Trick Room is a phenomenal play here. Remember, he has Urshifu Tornadus in the bag. He is in a terrible position now. I can just click Helping Hand Expanding Force, or what I can also click is Expanding Force Psychic. And in hindsight, I should have clicked Expanding Force Psychic, because how does he even punish this? He can click Wide Guard, but Psychic can KO the Shadow Rider slot, and I had the feeling that he always brings Torn in the matchup, because Rain Dance Torn is a no-brainer against Koraidon, right? So I at least get damage, and I force him to click Wide Guard, and if he clicks Wide Guard, next turn I can KO the Zamazenta with Helping Hand Moonguy's Beam. He cannot protect if he clicks Wide Guard. So my better play here is to click Expanding Force Psychic, and even funnier is, because he clicked Body Press Astral Barrage, the game ends. The game ends right here if I click Psychic Expanding Force, because I just get a double knockout and the game ends. As I said, Psychic Expanding Force, over. Literally over. But I click Meteor Beam Psychic instead. And it's a misplay. It's definitely not a good play. And on top of all that, I click Meteor Beam into the Shadow Rider. I miss my Meteor Beam. Well, that's rough. What should I say? And the problem now is, he just clicked the Astral Barrage Body Press, and the problem now is I have Flutter Mane and Koraidon in the bag, and both of these Pokemon are not amazing in Trick Room, but also not terrible. Both of them are still faster than Shadow Rider, and I decided to not go into Koraidon, but Fluttermane instead. Why? If I go Koraidon, he can get Tornadoes out, and he can go for Rain Dances. Like, also, as Zama outspeeds Koraidon, and he can always body press my Indeedee, and I didn't want him to body press my Indeedee and take life orb damage with Koraidon, because if I KO with Flame Charge, I'm suddenly faster than Shadow Rider. Bad. If I KO with CC or Flare Blitz, I either take recoil a lot, or I drop my defenses. And that's why it was better to go Fluttermane here. If Psychic KOs Shadow Rider, it really comes in handy that he terrestrialized with Shadow Rider already. I will also check if the next round is up, by the way. No, we still got time. So, here I can just go for Psychic into Shadow Rider and Moonblast with Zama, because he has no way to really stop that, because I always get a double knockout. He has to switch to prevent a double knockout, and instead we see a Protect, which makes sense because you wanna stall out with Trick Room, because then your Shadow Rider is faster, right? And that's why we see Protect. I tried to Psychic with Shadow Rider, and I tried to Moonblast with Zamazenta, knowing that the Zamazenta can break the sash on my Fluttermane. But if he breaks the sash on my Fluttermane, my Indeedee stays full life, and then I can maybe get a second Trick Room up, or threaten with Indeedee offensively, because I expected him to have Urshifu and Torn in the bag, because Torn was a no-brainer, and Psychic Seed Indeedee, I'm +1 Spadef, Torn doesn't really damage me, and I do decent damage with Psychic. Shadow Rider is in Psychic range and doesn't really damage with Indeedee, so that's why it is fine to take the Behemoth Bash on the Fluttermane. I played that during the Cup, Scorm. I played that during a Swiss round. And then I surrendered game 3 of the Cup because I wanted to focus on this fully. Like, I tried to play the first game simultaneously, and it was okay, but not perfect, because you will see some misplays on this game. Because he body presses my Indeedee, does a ton of damage, but now my Fluttermane is still full life. And the thing is, I have to decide what I want to go here, and there's no safe play. Yeah, Aris. We don't talk about it. So here he goes into Urshifu, and I obviously threaten a KO with Psychic Moonblast on Torn. I can target the Urshifu, but we have 1 turn of Trick Room left, and I was like, okay, what he can go for is Tyrant Protect, or maybe he goes for Bleak Windstorm Protect. But if he goes for Bleak Windstorm Protect, I have a play that covers everything if he protects with Urshifu. If he protects with Urshifu, I have a winning line. And since Urshifu is threatened by both Pokemon, I was sure that he would click Protect, and he actually clicked Protect. And you might say, why did he not Bleak Wind with Torn? Because he survives Psychic, he can break the sash with Fluttermane. Even if he Bleak Winds with Torn, I win the game. Because then I can go for... I clicked Icy Wind with Fluttermane. And you need to know that Urshifu in Tailwind is slower than Fluttermane in the sun. And even if he clicks Rain Dance, I'm still faster. Like, I have the pin on Urshifu with Moonblast, and I can click Flare Blitz into the Torn slot. So he has to click, like, Protect with Torn. And it's, like, very tough for him to get out of the position, because he needs the Tailwind to outspeed the Fluttermane with my... Shadow Rider. And here, this turn is weird, because what I can go for is Moonblast Flare Blitz. The problem is, if I go for Moonblast Flare Blitz and he clicks Rain Dance, Sandwich Lizards, yeah. The problem is, if he clicks Rain Dance and I go for Moonblast Flare Blitz and he goes for Rain Dance Aqua Jet, he breaks my Flutter Mane Sash, my Koraidon does not KO the Tornadus because of the Rain Dance, and then I take recoil from the Rocky Life Orb recoil and Flare Blitz recoil, and then next turn he has Tailwind, Astral Barrage, gets a double knockout. I can switch into Indeedee, yes, but then he can just spam Bleak Wind Storm, Astral Barrage, and I'm just in a very bad position. So I predicted him to go for Rain Dance Aqua Jet into Flutter Mane, because next turn he has Tailwind, Astral Barrage. Okay. You understand why he should go for Rain Dance Aqua Jet, but instead he goes for Bleak Wind Storm Aqua Jet. And that is insane to me, because if I just go for the most obvious play, which is Moonblast, Flare Blitz, I get a double knockout. Yes, he breaks the Sash, but Flutter Mane outspeeds Shadow Rider. I can just click Shadow Ball and KO it. I can also just KO with Moonblast. I can switch Koraidon, so even if he gets a triple protect and stalls out the sun, I just switch Koraidon back in again. I will finish this game and then we will switch, okay? So that's why I switched Koraidon. Maybe he made the read that I would switch with Koraidon. And I clicked Icy Wind so that my Flutter Mane would outspeed the Urshifu even after Tailwind and Rain Dance. Because as I said, I expected Rain Dance Aqua Jet, but he goes for Aqua Jet, doesn't work because of Psychic Terrain, and he goes for Bleak Wind Storm. And the problem is, he gets a speed drop on Flutter Mane. And now I'm in a losing position, but we will get back to it after we watch what's happening right here. I wanted to explain. So my Indeedee survived. So the current board position, we have to finish this first. So my Flutter Mane got a speed drop, right? And I got Icy Wind off on both Torn and Urshifu. Since I got the Icy Wind off, my Flutter Mane is still faster than the Urshifu even in Tailwind. So if he goes for something like Tailwind Surging Strikes, I will still get the Moonblast off first. I was thinking, okay, Psychic should KO the Tornadus at this point, and he can also not switch into Shadow Rider for free, so I just have a free Moonblast Psychic. Even if he protects one of the slots, next turn I can just click Moonblast Psychic again. I have a guaranteed win here. If he since he cannot get a double knockout with Shadow Rider whatsoever. Did you know how much HP this is on my Indeedee then? It was 1. Or is Aurelian... does Aurelian prefer the pronouns them? I did not know that. But yeah, Aurelian will only play NAIC and that's it. Because he was really... or they were really busy with school. And that's why they played only Lil and UIC and now NAIC. Yeah, and Nikhil is currently in Japan, which is also crazy. Oh, okay. I am very close with Aurelian, and I did not know that. And did you know that I was actually going for Moonblast Psychic? My Indeedee is faster. And I got a low roll, and he survived. But he missed Bleak Wind on my Indeedee. And now, since my Indeedee is faster than the Tornadus, I want to see if you can spot the best play. If you haven't watched this, okay? You need to know Shadow Rider is the fastest mon on the field. Like the speed order is Shadow Rider, Flutter Mane, Indeedee, Tornadus. Okay? What is the best play? Even Marcus, commentating, got it wrong. What is the best play from my side? Like, how do I target? What's in the bag? Koraidon. I have an... not full life. I think it was... is it full life? I have Koraidon in the bag. Could be full life, yeah. Should be full life. Life Orb Koraidon. Tailwind is not up. But the Shadow Rider is faster because Fluttermane has a speed drop. I have Terror. Icy Wind, Neronx. Icy Wind. I got an Icy Wind off on the Tornadus, and I'm not running Min Speed in DD. So basically, I can obviously target both Pokemon with Moonblast. I can target both Pokemon with Psychic. But I can also run into a Protect and stuff. So, what is actually the best play? Well, Max, Indeedee is faster than Tornadus. So Astral Bleak Wind is always losing. Because if I just click Psychic with Indeedee, I get one of the KOs and I always win. Rain plus Astral. Well, Indeedee is immune to Astral. Same thing again. Psychic KOs one of the Pokemon. But what Marcus said was Moonblast with Shadow Rider and Psychic with Tornadus. And that is actually it can actually lose the game if I Moonblast the Torn and Psychic Moonblast with Shadow Rider and Psychic the Torn, because you know what would happen. Let's say I go for Moonblast into Shadow Rider and Psychic the Torn, then next turn if he goes for Protect with Torn and KOs my Fluttermane with Astral Barrage, I play a 50-50, because then he can Psychic, he can go for Tailwind Psychic into Koraidon, but he can also predict my Follow Me and go for Astral Barrage Bleak Wind, and there was like, there's only one play that always wins the game. Double tapping the Kelly also loses the game. Torn has tagged, yes. How does double up into Shadow Rider lose? Well, he just clicks Protect Bleak Wind Storm, and then next turn he just clicks Astral Barrage Bleak Wind Storm. You mean double tapping with Icy Wind? Icy Wind can miss. Moonblast, Torn, and TR. That was what I was originally thinking, but then Tornadus is faster. And Moonblast, Torn, and TR loses to Astral Barrage Bleak Wind Storm. So, I think... Am I overlooking something? Tell me if Alcana has a play against the one I went for. It was... we will see it, I think. Yeah, so we see Tailwind actually. But what I clicked was Moonblast into Torn and Psychic into Shadow Rider. Mike, the Torn is still slower than the Indeedee. Protect plus Psychic. I thought about that, but then I was like, next turn, I can just click, like my Koraidon should be faster than the Tornadus, even in Tailwind, because my Indeedee had 105 speed. So I knew his Tornadus has 104 speed max, but it's more likely that it is 100. And then 100 in Tailwind has 200, so I would be faster than the Tornadus in Tailwind with my Koraidon. It's -1, Mike. He got an Icy. He got Icy Winded. Koraidon... Does Koraidon die to +1 Terra Ghost Astral Barrage? My Koraidon was full life. If it doesn't die, this was like a line... Okay, maybe I underestimated Shadow Rider. Hold on. Timid. Terra Ghost. No, I remember what I clicked. I clicked Icy Wind, I think. I clicked Icy Wind Psychic, so what Cone said. But Icy Wind Psychic also doesn't help against Tailwind Psychic. Because my Fluttermane got a speed drop, both my Pokemon would still be slower than Shadow Rider. And then I need a triple protect on one of them. Well, even a triple protect on Fluttermane would not save me because when the sun ends. I underestimated Shadow Rider. Never mind. Okay, but let's take a look at game 2 as well. One sec. So game 2, I thought, okay, I can go for a different line because he will expect my Psychic terrain line and yeah. Anyways, okay, I got everything. Yeah, it's 100% safe play. Due to Icy Wind not being fully accurate, there was no safe play. I can show my team after the game. I also wanted to show the Bubonic special, of course. So, Koraidon Bubonic is a very nice lead here because he leads with Torn Sheath when I'm like, okay, he has Zama Shadow Rider in the back, so he has no Spore immunity, so I can just Spore. I can also CC with Urshifu. Yes, he can go for Rain Dance, but the CC still does a ton of damage. And then I get the Spore on the Tornadus, he would have 0 sleep turns, and then I'm in a perfect position. And I obviously gotta Terra my Bubonic so that I'm not weak to Bleak Wind and CC, okay? And you will see something crazy now. Everybody said I'm a big fraud for that. And honestly, I agree. Yeah, so the stream was lagging a little, but so I clicked Terra Water and he made a phenomenal play. Like, he hard repped me. If I clicked anything else, he would have been in a really bad spot. But we see that CC goes into the protecting Shifu and Spore goes into the Rillaboom and I terrored, okay? But the problem now is I can still Spore the Urshifu slot and CC one-hit KO's Rillaboom. Do you know that Life Orb CC always one-hit KO's Rillaboom? Unless you are physically defensive Rillaboom, okay? So I could go for CC and Spore, right? CC Spore is my best play. But I thought, isn't what he did a gamble? You mean what he does now with Terra Water Woodhammer? So he clicks Terra Water Woodhammer and switches to Torn. And I got so upset. Like, I told you that I cannot play against Japanese player because I don't get into the head they were. I cannot get into the head, like, the way they think. So, my assumption was, okay, CC always KOs him. So what he will do is that he will switch to Shadow Rider and CC my Koraidon. I guess I could have clicked CC plus Spore into Rillaboom to cover that switch. And it would have been probably the best play because the Urshifu is not super threatening. No, round 1. Yeah, like, he risked everything in round 1 as well. But the crazy part to me is that he clicks Terra Water in front of my close combat. You see how much this Flare Blitz does. I Flare Blitz because I thought he switches to Shadow Rider for sure. That did 110 HP. And CC is literally double the power. Because Flare Blitz and CC are both kind of stabbed because Flare Blitz is boosted by the sun. But why did he Terra Water? I was literally shook. But I got bailed because I got the burn. But even without the burn, I would have been in a decent spot, okay? It would have not been game over if I didn't get the burn because Woodhammer does not KO the poop bonnet. But the burn obviously helps me a ton. But can somebody explain this this Terra Water? Am I the one who's at fault? I get CC Spore. I always CC Spore the Willa slot. Because if he switches to Shadow Rider, I Spore the Shadow Rider, it has 0 sleep turns. And even if he stays with Urshifu, what is Urshifu going to do? CC my Koraidon. I was really scared if I click CC Spore that I click CC, I KO the Willa if he stays. Or he switches to to Shadow Rider and then he gets a free CC off on my Koraidon, gets a ton of damage. So that's why I clicked Flare Blitz Spore. But in hindsight, not the best play. And now I thought, okay, I brought Lunala and Indeedee in the back and I cannot Terra the Lunala anymore. So I have to make sure that I maybe get the Trick Room off because he probably has Shadow Rider in the back. Stream match starting, okay, my bad. So I wanted to talk about this game as well. So I got the Flare Blitz burn, right? And now that Torn switched in and has 0 sleep turns, I just have a free KO on that slot. And I want to switch into Indeedee because I didn't want to take more damage onto my Bubonic because Bubonic can actually survive a move from both Zamazenta and Shadow Rider. And Indeedee can also set up the Trick Room. Oh, I also didn't see. Thank you, Lasse, for the follow 15 minutes ago. Actually true, Maxime. But I talked with Kusha, he's also not going. He registered, but he's not going. Like, well, he doesn't want to go alone, so... I could go with him as a spectator and a live coach. That would be sick, but... we probably know. Anyways, so I got the KO, and all I need to do is to guarantee Trick Room to go up, because if Trick Room goes up, I have Lunala and Bubonic and Indeedee, and I just win the game. Really, really sad I don't have the money to compete, but doing well for the most part. Miss Pokemon a lot, but I'll be back eventually. I really hope so. I really, really hope so, and I mean, you will figure it out eventually, so yeah. You should coach Kusha, what could go wrong? Exactly. I mean, he made the first day 2 where we were running the same team. We literally didn't really prep and he's still day 2, so yeah. I would have cooked Milwaukee too. Oh man. Your plan is... Okay, listen. Scott. It's not about the money, because money is fake, but look, you can get a lot of money if you just play Worlds and sell all your stuff, right? You can sell all your playmats and whatever, all the competitor stuff. Listen, there's a special event in South Africa in 3 weeks. You can still register. You fly to South Africa, and then you get 2nd place, and then you just cry. Okay? The last South Africa special event, it was 1 week ago. It had 8 Masters competitors. It could be just that easy. Oh, I understand, Scum, I understand. Hi Mima, how you doing? But But yeah, so here I have indeed Kawaii, and I make the biggest blunder of my life. Actually, I had worse blunders, I guess. But here I just CC Rillaboom and Trick Room, and then nothing can go wrong anymore. But what I decided to do is that I said, okay, I can also break the sash on my Shadow Rider, because I survived Psychic Woodhammer. Because if I set up the Trick Room now, I have guaranteed won the game. And I just wanted to break the sash from the Shadow Rider, as I just said, because I also knock out myself, so I get a free switch into Lunala now. But the problem is, would you say Woodhammer crit KOs me there? Take a look, from 50 to like 20. Would it have KO'd? I mean, there's also the possibility of him getting a double crit, so yeah. And at this point, it doesn't really matter what I do anymore. Here's Urshifu in the back. I go to Lunala. I just click Expanding Force. I switch in Didi because I wanted to flex. Because, let's say I switch... Nah, it doesn't matter. I clicked Expanding Force. He tossed Urshifu. And then he goes to Rillaboom and he makes one last funny thing. He goes for Grassy Glide into his own Shadow Rider. So, yeah, I was able to beat Alcana, a very strong Japanese player. I think my matchup was actually very good. And that is one of the strengths of Kawaii and Lunala. I think Kawaii and Lunala usually matches up very, very well into Zama CSR. But yeah, I was able to win 2-0, and on top of all that, we were able to beat Japan 4-3. We were able to win against the best team in the world. Obviously, Shohei and Mao or Hirofumi were not playing, but Viera, Iroha, Alcana, Yanagi, Yubiso, Arubega, Kinugawa, like, I think all 7 of them are better than all of us, like, usually. I think Marcus and I could make a case to say, okay, we both top 4 worlds, we have multiple like regional or national wins, right? But other than that, like, their roster was stacked, and we were able to win 4-3, and that is just such a huge accomplishment. And yeah, that happened yesterday.